Advanced Java Programming. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about what are the uses of the system classes. What is meant by the signed applet? What is meant by applet context? What is the object serialization? And at last, what is the shallow and deep copying? These topics will be covered in this lecture. Let's see what is meant by a system class. At first, what is meant by a system class? The system class is a collection of the class fields and the methods. So what is meant by a system class? The system class, it is a collection of the class fields and the methods. The class fields are the variables of the classes and the methods are the static methods. So every system class is a collection of the variables and the static methods. And these system classes are used to store the standard variables like input, output and error variables. So what is the use of the system class? We are using the system class to store the standard variables like input, output and error variables. And these variables can be stored in the variables like in, out, err. By using these three variables, we are storing the standard variables while in the Java runtime. So we are storing these data in the runtime. We have some facilities to provide by the system classes. Those are the standard input, the standard output, error output stream. These system classes cannot be instantiated with the facilities provided by the system. This system class is in java.lang package and there is a subclass we are having. What is the subclass? java.lang.object. By using the java.lang.object, we are using the system classes. Let's see the fields of the system classes. What are the fields we are having? Static input stream in, static print stream out and static print stream error. So these are the standard input, output and the error output stream. Let's look some common uses of the system classes. Let's see what are the methods we are having in the system classes. The first one is the static void array copy. So here we are having the object source in src position, object destination, integer destination position, int length. So here by using this method we are copying an array from the specified source array. So we are copying one array to another array. So here what is the object src? The object src defines the which source we are using and which array we have to copy. And next integer source position. In that array, what is the specified position that we want to start? Next, the destination of the objects. What is the specified position of the destination array? And what is the destination position? And what is the length of the array? By using the static void array copy, we are copying the files from the one copy to the another copy of the array files. Next one, the static string clear property of string create. This method removes the system property indicated by the specified key. By using the clear property, we are removing the system properties indicated by a specified key, that is the string key. Next one, static void exit in integer status. That status means here true or false. And this method used to terminate the currently running Java virtual machine. Whatever we are having in Java virtual machine, we are terminating that by using the exit method. The static void gc. What is meant by static void gc? Here the method runs the garbage collector. So by using the gc method, we are run the garbage collector. Next, static string get property of string key. This method gets the system property indicated by the specified key. It gets the system properties indicated by the specified key. Next one, static string get property of string key and string defined. This method gets the system property indicated by the specified key. The static security manager of get security manager method. By using this method, we are getting the system security interfaces. By using security manager with get security manager. Next, static void load. Here What are the files we want to copy? Those files are by using the load method. This method loads a code file with a specified file name from the local file system as a dynamic library. Static void load library. What is meant by the static void load library? And here we are having some string library name. So by using the library name, we are getting the or we are loading the system libraries by specified library argument. Static void set error, static void set in, static void set out. So by using these we are assigning the standard input output error output streams to the in, out and ERR variables. By using these three methods, we are reassigning the standard input output error output streams. The next topic is applet context. First, what is an applet? The applet is an application designed to be transmitted over the internet and executed by a Java compatible web browser. And we can also say it as the applet program is a teeny Java program. And these are the intelligent programs. We can call it as these are the teeny programs and the intelligent programs. The Java.applet. What is meant by Java.applet? Here we are using what are the classes we have to include in our program that will be included by using the Java.applets. Here the Java.applet class having the three interfaces. What is that? Applet context, next audio clips and applet stubs. What is meant by applet context? The applet context is the interface defined by the Java.applet. It is used to get the information from the applet's execution environment. While the applets is in the execution environment, these are in the execution mode, the information will be get by using the applet context. The context of executing applet is obtained by a call. Which one we are using? We are using the get applet context. By using the get applet context, we are getting the information from the applets while the applets in the execution environment. Next, what is meant by an audio clip? The audio clip is used to play, rewind and stop the clips of the audio files by using the audio clips. And what is meant by stub? The stub acts as an interface between the applets and the applet viewer. And the applet stub is used as the interface between the applet context and the applet viewers. The Java programs allow the applets to transfer the controls to the another URL. Here we are using the show document. What is the show document here? The show document method is used to transfer the controls in applet context interface. Suppose we want to get the information or contents of the currently executing applet program. Here we are using the get applet context as by get applet context method that will be defined by the applets. Once the content of the applet is obtained within an applet. So what is that? The content of the applet is obtained within an applet. Another document is brought into view by using the show document. So if the contents of applet is obtained within a applet. So here we are having in an applet we are having another applet. So we want to see the document of the another applet by using the show document method. Let's see some of the methods in the applet context. What is the first one? Applet get applet of string applet name. So this method returns the applet specified by applet name if it is within the current applet context. Otherwise we are writing it as a null. So if the applet is present, we are seeing by applet name. Otherwise we are having the null. It returns the null. Enumeration get applets. This enumeration contains all of the applets within the current applet context. We are having the features of the all applet programs into the current applet context. Next one, audio clip get audio clip of URL. And this method returns an audio clip object. So this method returns an audio clip object that encapsulates the audio clip found at the location specified by the URL. By using the URL method, We are encapsulating the audio clips. Next, void show document. So the show documents is used to show the documents which are present in the URL. So this method brings the document at the URL specified by the URL into the view. This method may not be supported by the applet viewers. So the show document is only specified in the applet context but not in the applet's viewers. The placement of the document is specified by where. So the document will be placed in the, that is specified by the where name. And next, void show status. What is the status of the applets? So this method displays the what is the status window of the applets. Let's see one simple example program here. So here in this example we can use the get applet context and the show document, and how we can use these two methods. Let's see. Here import java.awt.start. So here we are creating the window based applications, and after that we are using the applet context. This applet context are in the applet.star class. So here we are inputting the import java.awt.star and import java.applet.star. Next, after that we are creating the network based web pages. So here we are inserting the import java.net.star. After that we are inserting the what is the applet code. Applet code equals to what is the class name we are inserting and what is the width and what is the height of the particular applet. After that we are inserting the public class. So the public class AC demo which extends the applet. So here we are writing the AC demo. This is the class for the, we are creating one class and this class name will be given to the applet code equals to particular class name. After that we are giving the what is the starting method. So what is the starting method here? The public void start method. In the start method we are using the get applet context and the show document. How we are using applet context? We are creating one object for the applet context, that is the AC, that equals to get applet context. We are using the applet context method, and after that I am giving one URL. So by using the URL, so these are the uppercase letters, capital letters we are inserting. So we are creating one URL object for the particular URL and get code base. So here by using the code base we are inserting the what is the code we have to insert in our web pages, that will be inserted by using the code base, get code base. After that we are using the try catch. So in the try catch we are inserting one particular URL, and with that URL we are showing the what are the contents, what are the documents that will be present in the particular web page. So here AC, that is the applet context object dot show document. We have to show the document of new URL, particular URL we are giving, that is URL plus test.html. So that is the show document. We are using the show document to show the document or to show the what are the contents that will be in the any particular URL. Next, in the catch block. In the catch block we are using the malformed URL exception. Suppose if the URL is not present, in that we are using the catch exception as the malformed URL exception. And next we are displaying the what is the status of the current URL. So here in the catch statement we are printing the what is the error message. So here the show status equals to show status of the URL is not found. So this is the example for the applet context. Let's see the output. So what is the output here? So in the text.html we are inserting good morning students and welcome to advanced Java programming. So this text will be, this HTML page will be displayed by using the one applet context object. So this is the example for the applet context. Signed applet. What is meant by signed applet? Here we are giving the digital signature for the applet programs. The applet programs cannot access system resources. Why these applets cannot access the system files? Because here the applets cannot have the permissions to get the resources from the one directory to the another directory. With this reason, we are giving the digital signatures for the applets. So, here the signed applets can access the local system resources. The Java Development Kit. So, JDK provides the user and the administrators can sign the applets. So, no one access or no one gives the permissions for the signing of the applets. But in JDK, it provides the only user and the administrators to sign the applets. The signed applet is a technique of adding a digital signature to an applet. To get the applet out of the sandbox, we are using the signed applets. So, the signed applets are used to access the resources from the one directory to the another directory. Next, see what are the steps we have to follow while writing in the program. First one is the compile the applet, generate a jar file. Third one is the generate the keys, sign the jar file and export the public key certificate, import the certificate as a trusted certificate, generate the policy file and run the applets. By using these 8 steps, we are creating one signed applet program. Let's see one simple example program for the signed applet. So here we are using the signed applet. That means we are using the applets only. Further, we are importing the import java.applet.star and after that we are using the window based application. Further, we are inserting the import java.awt.star and we are inserting the net based application. That's why we are importing the import java.net.star and after that we are using some events. We are using some events like Further, we are inserting import java.awt.event.star. So after that, we are inserting the public class. So here in the public class, we are inserting the signed applet demo, which extends the applet program. And next, we are using the test method. So by using this test method, we are inserting what is the background and we are getting the properties of the particular home page, we are using by using one separator. So here the public string test method set background of the color dot white. So what is the background color? We are setting the white as the background color. And next we are inserting the file name. What is the file name? We have to get the properties of the particular file name. That equals to system.get property of the user.home plus system.get property of the file.separator. With one file.separator, we are separating one file. Next, we are inserting or we are displaying one message. What is that message? Here, the string message equals to this message was written by the signed applet. We are displaying one message. The message is this message was written by the signed applet, and after that we are displaying the string S. After that, we are using the try and the catch blocks here. So here in the try block, we are writing one message. We are writing one message to the particular file. So we want to insert the file. The file writer FOS equals to new file writer of the file name. Here we are giving the file name and we are writing something into that particular file. So FOS dot write. We are writing the message from 0 to message dot length. How many words we are having? So up to that length, we are inserting that message into the FOS. Next, after that, we are closing our FOS dot close. And next, so here I am using the S dot new string. So here, what is the string we are inserting into the particular file name? That is the successfully created file. So here, by using the signed applet, we are accessing the resources of the another directory. In that we are using the signed applet. So here one message will be written into the one file name, and we can also access the resources of the another directory or another files also. Here are next after that the catch exception. So here we are using the try and the catch block. So in the try block we are inserting one message into the file name. So here in the catch block, whenever we are having any exceptions or any errors, in there the catch block will be occurred. Next, system.out.println of what is the exception we are having. After that, we are using the e.print stack trace. So by using the one stack, we are inserting what are the messages that we want to display in our any stack, or we want to insert any files, any messages into the one particular stack. That means errors or messages, anything. By using the e.print stack trace and es.newString, and we can also, so this is the error part. So this is the error part. Then we have to insert the, what is the error message? Unable to create the any file. Next returns the S. And after that we are painting our any web page. So public void paint method. In that graphics G we are creating. So here we are setting the what is the color of the any web page, or we are drawing some one signed apply demo. We are creating one message. We are using one message into our any file. Next one, we are also setting the color for the one particular string. Next, draw string. So G dot set color and G dot draw string and G dot set color and G dot draw string. One for the file, one for the background and one for the message files. So after that we are using one write.jpg file. So in this write.jpg file we are giving the permission to access the resources. How we are creating? Key store, my store. So we are taking one my store, in that we are giving the permissions. Next, grant signed by the Lakshmi. Here I am taking one. What is the sign? The sign is the Lakshmi. And we are giving the permissions to the java.util.property permissions we are giving. We are giving the permissions for the user.home and the to read. We are giving the permissions as the read permissions here. And after that we are giving the permissions as the write permissions by using the write. Next one, we are creating one applet tag. In the applet tag, we are inserting the what is the applet code. What is the .java file we are creating? That is the signed applet demo.class. Next one, we are giving the what are the actual. So where we are getting the jar file. So actual equals to signed applet.jar. Next width equals to 400, height equals to 400, and parameter name equals to some file, and value equals to where the files we have to insert. Okay. For the particular name, for the particular value, we are giving that. So, this is the example for the signed applets. Let's come into the next topic, the object serialization. What is meant by the object serialization? The object serialization is the process of converting the object state into the byte stream. So, we are converting the objects into the byte stream. To serialize an object, that means we have to convert the state to one state to the another state. That is the object state to the byte stream state. And these byte streams can be reverted back into the copy of the objects. So this process is known as the deserialization. So what is meant by serialization? We are converting the object stream to the object state to the byte stream, and we are reconverting the byte stream to the object. That is the serialization and the deserialization. A Java object is serializable. When it will be serializable? If its class or any of its superclass implements either the java.io.serializable interface. So when will be the object is serializable? Here the superclass implements the either java.io.serializable interface, or here we are having another sub interface, that is the java.io.externalizable. If a class is serializable and all of its subclasses also serializable. So why I use the serialization method? Because I want to store the objects. So in this which situations I want to store the object? So these objects can be stored in the persistent state. What is meant by persistent state? The persistent means it is a storage device that remains the data after the power device is shut off. So whenever the power will be shut off, so the devices can store the data. That is the persistent state. And it is used to transport the data. It is easy to transport. By using the serialization, we are transporting the data to one to another one. Here the RMI and EJPs can have the RMI, EJPs, etc. In these applications, we are using the serialization method. Suppose if we want a particular class objects and those are serializable, then the class that must be implements the serializable and the externalizable objects. And let's see the object serialization picture. Here what is this? Here the object is converted to the byte streams, and here in the byte stream what are the contents we are having? We are having the file DB. So here we are having the file and database and the memory of the memory. In these we are storing the byte streams. So the object is converted into byte streams, and the byte stream can be stored in our file DB or any memory. And next, what is this? The byte streams can be converted into the object, that is the deserialization. Figure about the object serialization and the deserialization. And let's see the definition of the deserialization. The deserialization is a process of converting the serializable form of an object back into a copy of the objects. That is, we are converting the byte stream into the objects. Next, coming to the externalizable. What is meant by externalizable? The Java facilities for serialization and deserialization have been designed so that much of the work to save and restore the state of the objects occurs automatically. By automatically, we are storing the object states by using the externalizable. The externalizable interface can be defined in two methods. What are those? First one is the read external, and the read external with the object input and the input stream, and next one is the read external with the object input stream throws the IO exception. So here the IO exception for the class not found exception. Here the in stream is the byte stream from which the object is to be read, and outstream is the byte stream to which the object is to be written. Let's see one example program for the object serialization. So what is the object serialization? We are transferring or we are converting the objects into the any byte stream. So here we are importing the java.io.star. Next one, we are implementing the serialization by using one class, that is public class student_info, which implements the serializable interface, and string name. So here we are declaring two variables. What are the two variables we are declaring? The first one is the name and the second one is the ID. Next, the static string contact. So here we are inserting one contact. So what is the contact of the student, what is the name, and what is the registration ID for the particular student. Next, student info. Here we are creating one method. This is a constructor. So whatever the class name, that will be used in the method. So this is the constructor with three parameters: student info, string n, string integer r, and string c. Next one, this dot name equals to name n, and this dot RID equals to R, and this dot contact equals to C. So particular constructor, we are taking the name, ID, and the contact values, and we are accessing the R, N, and C by using the this dot name equals to N, this dot RID equals to R, this dot contact equals to C. Next, I am using the test class. So by using this is the main class. Further, we are using the public static void main string args. So here we are giving the try in the class block. So in the try block, whenever the process is successful, we are printing or we are processing any request, and whether we are having any exceptions or any errors, that will be printed by using the catch statement. So in the try block, we are inserting the student info, SI equals to new student info. So here we are inserting what is the name, what is the ID, and what is the phone number, what is the contact number. Next, we are using the file output stream FOS equals to new file output stream. Whatever we want to insert, or we are transferring the one file into the one object into the byte stream. Here we are using the file output stream and the object output stream. So the file output stream FOS equals to new file output stream of the student.scr. So we are transferring or converting the object into the particular student.scr. Next, object output stream. So here which object we want to give them as output, that is the FOS to the byte streams. Object outstream OS equals to new output stream of the FOS. Next we are writing. We are writing the object into the some particular student information, and after that we are closing the OS and the FOS values. So in the last catch exception E dot print status. Whatever we are displaying in the exception, that will be displayed in the print stack trace. Next let's see what is the deserialization program. So here in the deserialization, what is meant by deserialization? We are converting the byte stream into the particular object. So first of all we are inserting the import java.io.star, and next we are declaring the class deserialization example. In that we are using what is the method? That is the public static void main and string r. So here also we are using the try and the catch block. So here in the try block we are using the deserialization example. With this class name we are creating one object for the deserialization example. Next we are using the file input string, object input string. So here we are reconverting the byte stream into the object stream. That's why here we are using the file input string. So in the early example we are using the serialization example. So in that we are converting the object into the any byte stream. So the file input stream f equals to new file input stream. So we want to get the files or objects into the particular file.txt. And object input stream OS equals to new object stream of the F. Next one, here we are using the D equals to. What is the D here? We are declaring the variable for the deserialization example class. D equals to deserialization example of the OS dot read object. We are reading the particular OS object. After that, any errors are occurred by using the catch exception E dot print stack trace. By using this method, we are inserting one stack. By using this stack, we are inserting what are the error messages that will be occurred in our any program. After that, we are printing the what is the d dot name. After that, system.out.println, we are printing the what is the d dot name value. So these are the examples for the object serialization and the deserialization methods. Next coming to the what is meant by shallow and deep copy. What is the shallow copy? It creates an exact copy of the values in the original object. What is meant by shallow copy? We are creating the exact copy of the original copy. That is the shallow copy. In books, we are creating a copy of the object of existing object, and the resulting copy of the object is known as the object copy or simply copy. So what is the copy? We are saying that the copy, we are simply saying that it is a simply copy or the object copy of the original objects. And there are several ways to copy the objects. Most common one is copy constructor or a clone method. So what is meant by a clone method? By using the clone method, we are creating a copy of the object. Next, see the diagram. What is it mean? The shallow copy creates an exact copy of the values in the original objects. In this shallow copy, it creates an exact copy of the values in the original object. Here, the contain object 1 having the main 1 object and the main 2 object, and the main 1 and main 2 objects are having the field 1 and the field 2. Here we are copying the exact copy of the main object 1 and field object 1 to the main object 2 and the field object 2. And the main object 2 is also changed. Whenever we are having any changes in the main object 1, the changes can be occurred in the main object 2 also. And what is meant by deep copy? In this figure, the main object 1 have the fields like field 1 of integer type and contain object 1 of the contain object type. When we do a shallow copy of main object 1, the main object 2 is created with the field 2. It containing the copied values of the field 1 and still pointing to contain one object itself. Observe here, we will find that since field 1 is of primitive type, the values of it are copied to field 2, but contained object 1 is an object. So main object 2 is still pointing to contain object 1 only. So any changes made to contain one object in main 1 object will reflect in the main object 2. That is the shallow copy. When we are using default implementation of clone method, we got shallow copy of objects. That means it creates new instance and copies all fields of the object and returns it as the object type. And we need to explicitly cast it back to our original object. The clone method of the object class which supports the shallow copy of the object, and this object contains primitive as well as non-primitive or reference type variables in shallow copy. The cloned object also refers to the same object to which the original object refers, as only the object reference get copied and not the referred object themselves. So here what is the cloned object? The cloned object refers to the same object. It refers to the same object which the original object refers only the object reference. So what we are saying, the original object? The original object refers to only the object reference that will be get copied and not the referred object themselves. That's why the name shallow copy or shallow cloning in Java. If only primitive type fields or immutable objects are there, in this situation there is no difference between the shallow copy and the deep copy. Let's see what is here. Cloning is the process of the creating exact copy of the existing object in the memory. Here what I am saying, the R1 is having the L equals to 7 and B equals to the 5. Here we are creating the exact copy with the name R2, that equals to R2 having the L equals to 7 and the B equals to 5. Next, deep copying. What is meant by deep copying? Copies all fields and make copies of dynamically allocated memory pointed to by the field. That is the deep copy. So what is meant by deep? By using the deep copying, we are copying the all fields of the original copy and make these copies of the dynamically allocated memory which is pointed by the field. Whenever we need more copy, not to use the default implementation, in that situation we are using the deep copy. So it is called as the deep copy. So whenever we need deep copy of the objects, we need to implement the according to our need. So for deep copy, we need to ensure all the member class also implement to clonable interface and override the clone method of the object class. So by using the deep copy, we are implementing the clonable interface, but we are overriding the clone method of the object classes. Let's see the figure. Here we are having the contain object 1 and main object 1 and field 1. Here we are having the contain object 2, contain object 2, main object 2, contain object 2, field main object 2 and the field 2. And if any changes occurred in the any one of these contain objects and there is no changes in the main object 1 and the main object 2. This is the differences between the shallow copy and the deep copy. If we want to change any one of the object, the one object will be reflected to the another object. That is the shallow copy, and the one object changes does not reflect the another object. That is the deep copy. Let's see one example program for the shallow and deep copy. So here in the shallow copy, we are creating an exact copy of the one original object. So here we are using the public class ex is the class name, and next I am using the private integer data. So here I am using the data and next public ex of integer value. So here we are taking the what are the multiple values we are taking here. Next one is the date equals to value, data equals to value. So by using these values, we are inserting by using the array of values. By using the array of value, we are taking the multiple values and these values will be translated into the or accessed by the data. And after that, by using the show data, what are the data that will be in the particular values of particular data equals to value, and that will be shown by using the system.out.println of the array to string. We are converting the array values to the string, and we are printing the what are the multiple values in the arrays by using the data. And in this example, the data simply refers to the same array as values. So here the public class use ex is one method. So here public static void main string asks and integer array of square brackets and values equals to 3, 5, 7. So here I am taking the multiple values of which are all in the same type, integer type only. Integer values equals to 3, 5, 7. And exe, we are creating one object for the particular ex method. So exe equals to new ex of the values we are taking. So integer values we are transferring to the ex. Next one, e dot show data. So by using the show data method, we are showing we are displaying what are the values we are inserting in the particular show data. And values of z. Values of 0 equals to 13. That means here we are changing the 0th value. So initially what is the 0th value? That is the 3. And here we are changing the value as the 13. After that we are using the e dot show method. So what is the output? That is the 13, 5, 7. So this is the example for the shallow copy. Let's see this output. So here in the output, what is the first e dot show data? It will display the 3, 5, 7. After we are changing the value of 0. What is the e dot show method? It will display the 13, 5 and 7. Let's see one example for the deep copying. Here the public class ex. So what is the ex deep copying means? We are creating the copy of the particular value. We are copying the particular value, but it will not be changing the what is the references of the particular value. So here the deep copying copies the all fields and it makes the copies of the dynamically allocated memory that is pointed by the any field. So here in this example, the public class ex, that is the class name, and the private integer data. So what are the data values we are taking? That will be in the integer values. Next one, the public ex of the integer value. So by using this, we are gathering the what are the values of we are taking as the input. Next, data equals to new integer values dot length. Up to the length, suppose it will be 3. What is the length of that? That is 0, 1, 2, 3. Next, like that. Next one, I am using the for loop. By using the for loop for integer I equals to 0, I less than data dot length I plus less. So here we are displaying the what are the values, multiple values we are displaying up to the what is the length of the particular data. Next we are displaying the or we are accessing the data of I equals to values of I. After that we are using the show demo, show data. What is the show data? What are the values we are giving for the particular class that will be displayed by using the show data. Here we are using the system.out.println. In that we are inserting the array dot to string of the data. Next, what is the main method? The main method is the public class use ex. So here we are inserting public static void main of the string as. Here we are initializing we are declaring the values as a 3, 5, 7. After that, we are changing the value of 0 equals to 13. So, by using the e dot show data and the e dot show data. So, let's see what is the output here. So, first e dot show method will display the 3, 5, 7. After changing the value of 0, that is the 13. But it will be also displays the what is the value? That is the 3, 5, 7 only. That's why the deep copying will be copies the all field, but it makes the copies of the dynamically allocated memory pointed by the any field. So these are the examples for the shallow and deep copying. Next, what is meant by lazy copying? It can be defined as a combination of both shallow copy and the deep copy. This mechanism follows a simple approach. What is that? At the initial state of the shallow copy approach, it will be used. A counter is used to modify the object to keep a track of on how many objects are shared the data. That will be seen by the lazy copy. Let's conclude the session. In this lecture, I have discussed about the what is meant by the system classes and what is the use of the system classes. What is meant by the signed applets and the applet context, and why we are using the signed applets and why we are using the applet context. So why we are using the signed applets? Because we are giving the digital signature for the our applet program. So what is the applet context? The applet context is used to store the information while the applet is in the execution environment. So these are the uses of the signed applets and the applet context. Next we have seen the what is meant by object serialization. The serialization means we are converting the object to byte strings and we are reconverting the byte strings to the object. That is the deserialization. Next, shallow and deep copying. What is meant by shallow copying? We are creating the exact copy of the original object. And here deep copying, we are following the fields of the original object. So, what is the difference between the deep copy and the shallow copy? Here, what is the difference between the shallow copy and the deep copy? If there are any changes occurred in the original object, the duplicate object or a copy object will be changed. That is the shallow copy. If any changes occurred in the original copy and there is no changes occurred in the duplicate or copied object, that is the deep copy. Thank you everyone. Thank you for listening this lecture.